Good evening, everyone. We're here tonight to hear cases regarding the City of Deltona code enforcement. My name is William Reichman. I'm the Special Magistrate appointed by the City Commission to hear these cases. That is allowed and consistent with Florida statutes as well as the Code of Ordinances of the City of Deltona. We've got a standard agenda. The first thing we do every meeting is called roll. We identify all the parties that you'll be hearing from or seeing this evening. So let me identify myself. First of all, my name is William Reichman. I'm an attorney. And I've been, it's been a couple years now, I've been doing this for the City of Deltona. I'm an attorney for almost 40 years, focusing in local government law, as well as administrative law and litigation, and have been representing several other local cities and doing all their code enforcement work. So with that, we're going to go around the room. Everyone's going to introduce themselves, and then we'll pledge the flag.
Danny Ron, Special Magistrate Clerk.
Richard Love, Assistant Director, Code Compliance.
Mark Gibson, Code Compliance Supervisor.
Dennis Lewis, Code Compliance Officer. Steve Brockoff, Code Compliance Officer. Code Compliance Officer.
Ron Paradise, Community Services.
Byron San Miguel, Administrative Supervisor.
Thank you, everyone. Let's stand and pledge allegiance to the flag, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Folks, the hearings that we'll be conducting this evening are organized and established consistent with, as I mentioned, the Florida statutes, this particular statutes, Chapter 162, as well as the Code of Ordinances of the City of Deltona, Chapter 2. These hearings are in the nature of what's called quasi-judicial, which means that we're not making the rules, we're simply applying the rules to the facts as we receive them. We will be following, as we are required by Florida law, fundamental due process, which means that everyone that has a matter on the agenda this evening has been provided legal notice, as is specifically set forth in Chapter 162. And everyone that received notice and that's on the agenda this evening has an opportunity for a hearing. That's what we're doing here tonight, is give everybody an opportunity to say what they need to say, and I want to hear it. I will take, and I have, as is normal, take what's called judicial notice, which means there's a lot of rules that apply, and I'm taking what's called judicial notice of those. Those rules include Florida law, statutes, as well as case law, as well as the Code of Ordinances of the City of Deltona. That includes the Florida Building Code and the International Property Maintenance Code, which may be relevant to the cases that we'll be considering this evening. When we call your case, the city always goes first because it's their burden to prove that there's a violation, and then to tell me what they think needs to be done and what's a good fix and how long it'll take and so on. After they make their case, and I may have some questions, then I'm going to call up the folks whose case it is, whose property is involved, and at that point in time, if you could go to, I believe that. They speak there? Over on that one over there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so it'd be that one right there. That's where if you could come up. And when you come up, when it's your case, if you could give your name and address. Obviously, you can see by the microphones we're recording this. It's important to have a transcript if necessary, so it's being recorded. If there's something you want me to see as opposed to just listen to or hear, I'm happy to receive anything that you want me to consider, photographs or a statement or an invoice or whatever. But it's important for you to understand up front that when I consider it, as I consider it, it becomes part of the record. What that means is it's kept up here so that if there was ever a dispute later on, we would have possession of that document, that photograph, whatever, so that it would be kept and it could be considered if this was ever appealed or whatever. So also, those documents will be kept here. They're not returnable, and they are public records, so they could be subject to a public records request. With that, it's important for you to know that I have not spoken with anyone about your cases or any of the cases this evening. I have not spoken with any of the folks whose cases are being heard tonight. I have not spoken with any of the code enforcement officers. I am making my decision tonight just on what I hear tonight. So I haven't had what's called any ex parte or one-sided communications. I haven't heard anything, so I don't know how to make a decision on this until I hear it. Next, we've got some cases that have been withdrawn or continued. I'm going to announce those by giving the addresses. And if I've missed any, I'm going to ask the staff, the officers to supplement those that I announced. There's a couple Massey cases that have been continued. 2286 Montano Street, there's 2 cases. 291 Fish Cove Court, and that was a Massey case that has been continued. Let's see. 1649 Matheson Street, that case has been withdrawn. And lastly, 404 Cloverleaf Boulevard, that case has been dismissed. So if there are any others, folks, that I have missed that have either been continued or withdrawn, please let me know so I can announce it in case someone is here and doesn't have to stay. With that, we've got a couple folks, and this is first come, first serve, so I'm going to take the first case. I believe this is DEL 21173. And these are, there's 3 cases, 21173, 174, and 175. Is that correct, Officer Muse?
Yes, it is. Mr. Reichman, before we start, we need to swear in all the officers.
Yep, sorry about that. Jump right over it. Folks, anybody that's going to testify this evening, I need you to stand and raise your right hand. So are you going to be testifying this evening? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you provide tonight will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do. Thanks a lot. Okay, so, Officer Muse, we've got 3 cases, 173, 174, 175, 1200 Deltona Boulevard. I believe the respondent is here?
Yes.
Okay, not yet, but we'll get to you, I promise. You bet. Officer Muse, do you want to present these separately or together?
Well, I can read each one just so we know what they are, or if you want to...
Are you seeking different relief in the cases?
No. That's
Okay.
all they're going to be saying.
Okay, well, let's just go through them then. Go ahead. We'll start with DEL 21173, which is, looks like it's a roof issue.
Yes, sir. I'll call you. My name is Dennis Muse. I'm employed by the City of Deltona as a code compliance officer. My credentials are on file with the city. This is case number DEL 21173, City of Deltona versus Deltona Wellness, LLC. Location address is 1200 Deltona Boulevard. Parcel ID number is 813-006-000020. The violation is the City of Deltona Ordinance Section 18-3, which adopting the latest edition of the International Property Maintenance Code, Section 304.7, which states that the roof and flashing shall be sound, tight, and not have defects that emit rain. The corrective action is to repair or replace the flashing that is hanging loose behind the Good Eats Diner. The statutory requirements for this case have been met by a notice of hearing was sent certified mail 10 days prior to the hearing date and posted at the property address listed with the tax collector's office. In addition, the notice of hearing was also posted at City Hall at least 10 days prior to the hearing. All these evidence in this case have been marked as exhibits and submitted to the Code Board hearing clerk. All 3 of these violations, including this one in particular, started in May 23rd of this year. The roofing on this one here, the flashing is all rotted. The one section of the roof on the far left corner has rotted through. So right now that's the issue with that one. Okay, that's the worst of it. There was some gutter that was hanging off of it. That has been taken off as far as that part goes.
So let me see if I understand what you're telling me. As to case 21173, Was the property not in compliance at the time that you did the inspection?
Yes, sir.
Is the property in non-compliance at tonight's hearing?
At this time, yes, it's in non-compliance.
Still non-compliance?
Yes.
All right. And how is it in non-compliance at tonight's hearing?
The wood along the flashing has been,
The photo?
the photo is, that's as of today at about 4 o'clock.
Okay, so that's what's, for this case, that's what would have to be fixed?
Yes, back
Okay.
there in the facing the wood that's along the front of it is all rotted also.
Okay. What is the city's request as far as what you would like the order to say?
Well, at this point, the city is asking for a demo permit. We will give them 30 days to obtain it. After the 30 days, if it's not obtained in the 30-day period, $250 a day. If they get the permit within the 30 days, we will gladly give them 90 days to complete the demo.
Well, would they, I mean, it's really their option, wouldn't it be? I mean, they could fix that, right? They don't have to just demo the property.
Well, there's more to it than just that. There's other violations that are...
No, I understand, but on this case, to cure this violation, they could just fix that.
They could, yes.
I'm not saying that that's what they want. We'll hear from the gentleman in a second, but I mean, I need to give the options that are legally
Right.
available to them.
Yes, sir.
So it would be 30 days to comply or fix,
Yes.
or 30 days to demo, and then what?
30
To get the permit.
To get the permit, the demo permit, yes, 30 days. Then $250 a day after the 30 days if they don't have the permit. And it should not be that hard, I don't think, to get the permit for that. If they get the permit, then we will gladly give them 90 days in order to complete the job of removing that whole structure.
Let me do it this way. I would like to hear from the owner at this point.
Okay.
And then we'll go through this. Sir, this is your chance. We've got 3 cases here this evening, sir. But the first one, you've just heard we're just doing one at a time. Sure. So you've heard what the city is requesting. I want to hear what you have to say before I make a ruling on this.
Fair enough. Well, first I would like to say that these 3 are very closely tied, and when you see the future pictures of the other ones, you'll understand why.
Okay.
We as owners recognize that this particular portion of the whole shopping plaza is in terrible disrepair. The owners that I represent just purchased this property not that much longer before the first notification of violation occurred. We do want to demolish the building.
Okay.
It is not repairable.
Okay, fair enough. So that's good. So what I'm hearing is that the parties agree that there is a violation as we stand here today talking about this. So the next issue is, do the parties agree on what is being proposed by the city, which would be giving you 30 days, sir, to get the permit, which is a demo permit, and then another 90 days to complete the demolition consistent with the permit?
I think that offer is extremely reasonable. The only concern that I suppose that I could raise is, let's say that in the next 7 days, I submit a completed application for permit. I have seen permits get hung up in process, but I believe the city of Deltona is interested in getting this one moved along. So the only thing I would say is, let's say they're 2 or 3 or 4 weeks in even evaluating the permit. Will we be subject to that $250 per day fine if that's the case? It's the only question I have.
Okay, if they have the permit submitted and it's under review, it's under review, okay?
Well, what you asked me, what the city asked for was 30 days to obtain
Obtain the permit.
the permit, which he's right. That's not just applying for it. That means that that's out of his control once he applies.
Well, we understand that there may be some things that could come up, that there might be something the city needs as far as information that would be required. Yes, we would give them a little bit of an
Why don't we do it this way? What if we give him 10 days to apply, and then 90 days from the issuance of the permit?
Mr. Reichman, I feel that if we give him 30 days to obtain the permit, if he doesn't get the permit in those 30 days, and it's a situation that the city just can't do it because of something that we're waiting on, we have no problem bringing him back here.
Okay.
And asking for that fine to be waived at that
All right,
point,
well,
as long as we're moving forward on that.
And that's on the record, sir. So that means that 30 days you get your permit. That's what they're saying. And if the holdup is on the city's end, then you're not going to get penalized for that.
Very well, that's entirely fair.
Is that fair?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So that's the first case. What I'm hearing is everybody's working through this.
Correct.
So what the order will say on this first case, which is DL 21173, that 30 days from today, you have to get the permit. So that means the sooner you can get the application in, the better. But it sounds like this is not going to be an issue. Everyone seems motivated here, so that's a good thing. And then from that time when you get the permit, you have 90 days to go ahead and scrape the property. Fair enough? Okay. So let's go to the second case. He's got to do his dog and pony again, and then we'll. I think we're going to be saying the same thing for the next two, but yeah, that's what I figured. Go ahead, sir.
Mr. Reichman, on 74 and 75, they're under the same ordinance. It's just two different sections of it. If I could just go ahead and just read for both.
Absolutely, go right ahead.
Okay.
I'm assuming, let's just cut to the chase, that the orders that you want on these two next cases are identical to that which
Yes.
we just finished discussing.
Yes, sir.
Okay, if you could just go ahead and make your statements so the record is clear that everything has been complied with legally.
Okay, my name is Dennis Muse. I'm employed by the City of Deltona as a code compliance officer, and my credentials are on file with the city. This is case number DEL 21, 174 and 175, City of Deltona versus Deltona Wellness LLC, location address 1200 Deltona Boulevard, parcel ID numbers 813006000020. This is the violation of City of Deltona Ordinance, Section 18-5, adopting the latest edition of the National Property Maintenance Code, Section 304.2, which states that all exterior surfaces, including but not limited to doors, door and window frames, cornices, porches, trim, balconies, decks, fences, and shall be kept in sound working condition and maintained in good repair. Exterior wood surfaces other than decay-resistant wood shall be protected from the elements and decay by painting or other protective covering treatments. Repair, the corrective action would be repair or replace the rotted wood in the garage door on the Good East Diner. So that would be both those cases.
Okay. Anything else to add, sir, on these other two cases?
Well, let me start by adding something that I think we forgot. My name is Michael Mather. I'm the owner representative, and my address is 401 West Sumter Street, in Mineola, Florida, 34715. I have nothing to add other than we're entirely in agreement about the solution.
Yeah, it sounds like the solution fits. I mean,
Sure.
It's not like you're going to tear down the building just for this and somehow leave the rest. So once it's down, and then you'll be building a nice new building that will probably start making money for you, for the owners.
And I guess the other thing I would say for the record is we did take some steps today to secure those three areas from the perspective of safety and
Excellent.
and access.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, that's
So we just
obviously
wanted to show-
in everyone's best interest.
It's a gesture of good faith.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, I'm going to enter this order, and it's going to be three different orders, just so you know, and you'll get copied with them. And it's going to say, so it'll be three different violations. I guess the thing I would warn you is that if you don't comply, it's three different violations. So it's not $250 a day, it's $250 a day times three, because it's three different violations. But that's not going to happen because this seems pretty straightforward and pretty reasonable.
Yeah, in the event that something happens to keep us from getting that permit in 30 days, it seems triply punitive. However, I don't anticipate that being an issue. So,
you know, I write down notes.
Sure.
So if it comes back and you feel that this is not right, something happened at the city, then you have the right to come back and we can talk about it. I doubt that I'm not. My experience up here is that you're not going to have that issue.
my experience thus far with the city of Deltona is that they're a fair organization work for.
Good.
When we inherited the property, we inherited about 17 violations. These three, unfortunately, fell off my radar. I am entirely responsible for not taking care of these sooner.
It's all right. We appreciate you working with the city. That's the most important thing. This is not about making money. This is not about imposing a fines. It's just that's the only legal tool we have to try to make sure that everybody complies.
And we appreciate the relationship we have with the city.
One thing, when you're in compliance, when you've fixed the property or taken down the property, my suggestion is please reach out to Mr. Officer Muse and let him know. It'll be in the order, but I'm just telling you verbally too as well.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Thank you for being here tonight. Appreciate your cooperation.
Now, am I allowed to leave?
You are done.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
We can't. You can.
Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, let's see. Next case is DEL 21171. This is the property address is 3149 Parma Drive, and the property owners are Brian and Heather Porter. So this is a case regarding permits. Officer San Miguel. Have that right?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Ready to proceed?
Yes, sir. My name is Myron San Miguel. I was employed by the City of Deltona as a code compliance officer. This will be case number DEL-21-171, the City of Deltona versus Brian L. Porter and Heather C. Porter. The property address is 3149 Parma Drive. The parcel ID number is 8103-0301-0120. It's a violation of the City of Deltona Ordinance Section 18-3, adopting the latest edition of the Florida Building Code, Section 105.1, which states that any owner, authorized agent who intends to construct, enlarge, alter, repair, move, demolish, or change the occupancy of a building or structure, or to erect, install, enlarge, alter, repair, remove, convert, or replace any electrical, gas, mechanical, or plumbing system, the installation of which is regulated by this code, or to cause any such work to be done, shall first make application to the building official and obtain the required permit. The corrective action for this said violation is to obtain a permit or remove the structure. The statutory requirements for notification of this hearing have been met by the notice of hearing and notice of code violation sent certified mail to the property owner at the address listed with property appraiser's records. In addition, both notices were posted at City Hall at least 10 days prior to this hearing. All of the evidence in this case, including the photographs, have been marked as exhibits and submitted to the special magistrate clerk. I certify any and all photographs to be true and accurate portrayals of what I observed on the date they were taken. This case was initially opened on February 22nd. It was found and viewed through a complaint that the home had a pool deck and pool attached to it without a permit. Upon my initial inspection, I found that the structures were present in the backyard. After speaking to the owners, they stated that the structures had been there for several years and that they didn't realize that they needed a permit for it. I explained to them at the time that the requirements for the permit, what they were and what they needed to do to obtain them. I've been working with them since the case has been opened. Unfortunately, at this point, it's been passed. It's exceeded a reasonable amount of time needed to obtain the permits, which is why we're bringing them back tonight. The city's request is 60 days from today, given that the next special magistrate will be in January, to come into compliance, or a fine of $25 per day to be imposed until such time that the property owner notifies the city of compliance.
Someone here to represent the property at 3149 Parma Drive. Sir, if you could come forward and give me your name and your address, please.
Yes, I'm Brian Porter. I live at 3149 Parma Drive, Deltona, Florida, 32738.
What do you want me to hear, sir?
He brought up that it's been since February 22nd. Unfortunately, this here has been a difficult year for myself. Dealing with the lumber shortage and the lumber crisis and stuff, I'm not a wealthy person. I have tried multiple times to make this right, and throughout the process, I do have a documentation of some emails that him and I have gone back and forth that I can submit to you. I don't know who I give it to, but
You can give it to me if you'd like me to.
okay. Just stating the fact that when there was a complaint made about a fence that we had, we obtained the permit for that. And then when the other complaints about the pool, when the complaints about the pool and the pool deck and the patio structure were made, that I was directed to call the building department on what to obtain first, at his direction, because I wasn't sure, and that's in the emails as well, that I wasn't sure which way to go first. And he said to contact the building department, and they guided me and said, go ahead, since you already have a permit for the fence, to go ahead and complete the fence. So when he had contacted me probably a couple months later, he had asked me what was the progress on the pool deck and the patio. I said, I don't have that yet because I'm trying to finish the fence. And he said, well, why not? And I said, well, I'm not a wealthy person. I do everything myself. I don't contract anything out. I do all the work myself. So I save money, I work on it. So I finished the fence, which cost me triple the amount that it should have due to the lumber shortage and the prices of lumber. Then after that, I knew that I had to pay for an engineer, which was probably going to cost me about $2,000 to obtain the engineer's signature and the stamp. I spoke to 3 different architects. They wanted nothing to do with it. 2 different engineers. First one didn't want anything to do with it. The second one, he gave me the okay, but he kind of strung me along a little bit. And then now we're in the beginning of July, about July 8th, I want to say that the email was. It stated that when I was trying to get in contact with Ron of Devlin Engineering out of Sanford, he said that he was on vacation, back till the 12th. So multiple times I tried to reach him, and no luck. But by the end of July, I had actually contracted COVID, and I was in the hospital for 8 days and in the ICU for 5 days. And from then on, I was, which I have documentation as well. I don't want to submit that to you.
Don't need it.
Because I don't want that to be public. But
Not an issue.
so I was out of work for about almost 2 months, from July 24th through September 13th. September 13th is the day I returned to work, but I was out of work almost 2 months, so I lost that pay. So in that meantime, going through doctor's appointments and everything, I also have documentation too of the doctor's notes and everything. But obviously there were some funds restricted there, trying to obtain the engineer's drawings, which that is included in the back side of that packet. This is a preliminary, forget the exact terminology he used, but basically preliminary drawings, because he is currently, I met with him last week, and he did inspect the property, and he's going to get me the drawings by, he said, the end of this week.
Let me ask this question. This is, and I'll get back to you in just a second. In order for this gentleman to properly apply for the permit, this is for not for the fence, this is for the pool and electrical, correct?
Correct.
What would he need? Is he right? He's going to need some engineered...
He needs engineer drawings because it's after the fact as well. I mean,
Sure.
You need engineer drawings regardless, but there may be a couple more steps due to the fact that it's after the fact that it's been
Okay,
built.
so let's assume that tomorrow morning, just for the sake of grins and giggles, that he could get in here with all the necessary foundational documentation. How long would it take the city to process that and issue the permit?
If Mr. Porter has all of the correct documentation requested by the building department, it shouldn't take more than a week to approve.
So, Mr. Porter, let me get back to you then. Sounds like you were doing everything you can. You proved to me that it has not been a good year for the Porters.
Right.
Okay, I get that. What we're talking about here is just finishing the process that you have started, which is getting the permit. So you have hired the right people to get that process started. Have they told you how much longer they need to get to finish what they need to do in order for you to come back to the city and submit your application for the permit?
According to my communication with him and various emails, he told me that even when I met him in person, he had said that he was going to be able to get me something before this hearing, because I told him how important it was. And so because he had gone out of town, he had some travel issues, whatever. He wound up in Tennessee. So he was only able to get me the preliminary drawings. He did tell me in the email that he would be able to get me the finalized drawings by the end of the week. So, being that it's only Wednesday, I'm hoping he'll get them to me by Friday. So I would hope that maybe by Monday, because I don't know when he'll get them to me on Friday. It could be Friday afternoon. You know, I'd probably tie my hands to get in here by Monday.
That's fine.
You know.
So what would he need? Would he need anything else other than the finalized drawings that he's having an engineer prepare?
Unfortunately, I can't give those details. I can't say I don't work directly
Okay.
and intimately with the building
So,
department.
Mr. Porter,
Have
what the
to contact
city has
them.
asked is that they're asking me to enter an order that gives you 60 days from tonight to get the permit.
Okay.
And it sounds like you're on your way. They said that once you get the final permit applied for, it'll take a week. So that's 7 days, that's 53 days. So you're looking at 7 weeks plus that they're asking for you to have to be able to finish this process, to get it in the application. Do you think you can do that? Because, I mean, I don't want to create a deadline that you can't comply with, but at the same time, we need to wrap this up.
Yeah, I believe that that's reasonable. You know,
Okay.
I should be able to wrap it up pretty soon.
Okay.
It's just, you know, going back to the money issue, I know that by the time that he issues me an invoice and I have to pay him, that's going to take me some time to recoup that money so I can finish the project.
Well, this isn't about finishing the project.
Okay,
This is, correct? This is
Correct.
just to get the permit.
okay,
The violation.
That's an
is the
important
lack of
distinction, Mr. Porter.
okay,
We're not asking in 60 days to have the whole thing finished. We're just asking you to get the permit
Right.
within 60 days.
Okay.
So that's just step one. And you've already paid him, I think, for the work that he needs to do to give back to you to apply for the permit. So it sounds like that you've done really the heavy lifting to comply with what you need to do to get this done in 60 days.
yes.
Okay?
Mr. Reichman, I have a question.
Yes.
Mr. Porter, you said to finish the project. Are you working on something or adding to the pool deck or the pool? Because the only violation here is that you don't have a permit. All you need to do is get a permit for the items that you don't have a permit for, and the case gets
Well,
closed.
the idea is that obviously the deck isn't finished, so I do need to build a step there, because obviously it looks unfinished, but onto the right side of the deck, I want to extend it out to the edge of the house.
Okay.
So that's part of the drawings that he's going to.
That could be what's holding you up. So just to be clear, if you're doing a permit after the fact, those things have to be included as well to that additional permit that you're requesting.
Right.
So I don't know if it's easier for you to get a permit for what you have now and then wait to add on to it until you have everything together and then get a permit, because once a permit's issued, you have 6 months.
Right.
So the issue isn't whether your project is completed or not. The concern here is that this is, if after 60 days, it'll be almost a year that this case has been opened for just application of a permit. And as of today, when I checked, nothing's even been put in the system that you've applied yet. So
Right.
that's all we need to do in 60 days.
Yeah, and that just goes back to, you know, the difficulty with finding an architect or an engineer that would even take my small fry case. You know, they're used to working with Mega Millions structures, you know, they're not concerned with some guy in Deltona. You know, so it was difficult, took me some months to get that. But,
Mr. Porter, it sounds like, again, we're only talking about right now for this case this evening. It's not for you to finish the entire project, but it's just to go ahead and get the permit.
Right.
What I've heard from both of you all tonight is that 60 days, since you've done the heavy lifting, again, I'm going to use that analogy, 60 days will give you, 7, 8 weeks to just
Correct.
finish this process.
Okay.
So again, our objective is not to penalize you. Our objective is just to put a deadline on this, just to get it done.
Okay.
So without hearing anything more, I'm going to find that the property still needs a permit.
Right.
We all agree on that.
Yes.
And that 60 days is fair for you to finish what you need to do with your architect or your engineer. So go to the city, meet with the appropriate representatives, and the officer can help you with that, and then submit it, and they'll get it back to you within about 7 days. And then what you want to do is call Officer San Miguel,
okay,
and let him know that you're finished, it's complete, and then we're done.
okay.
Okay? So that's the order I'm going to enter, and it's just to create a written record of what I'm telling you right now.
Okay.
So 60 days or a fine of $25 a day. No one wants to create the fine. It's just that's our tool to make sure that it gets done. Fair enough?
And that's after the 60 days?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
Okay. All right. Thank you for being here tonight.
All right, thank
Really
you.
appreciate it. Good luck. I hope things go better for you next year.
I appreciate it, yes.
All right, I believe we are back to the beginning. I don't see any more cases that are here this evening, so we're going to get started on the beginning of the agenda. DEL 21028, this is a Massey case, the first of our Massey cases. Property address 928 Halsted Street. Property owner Ronnie B. and Patricia O'Brien, Officer Brockhoff. Another German name.
Yeah, it's been pronounced so bad, I can't remember if I'm pronouncing it right myself.
Did I mispronounce your last name?
No, you do. You pronounce it correctly.
Okay, I apologize if I did.
Oh, no. My name is Steve Brockhoff. I'm employed with the City of Deltona as a Code and Compliance Officer. This will be Massey case number DEL 21-028. It's going to be a Massey update. City of Deltona versus Ronnie B. and Patricia G. O'Brien. Property address is 928 Halsted Street. Parcel number is 813-024-024-20220. The statutory requirements for the notification of this hearing have been met by the notice of hearing and notice of code violation sent certified mail to the property owner at the address listed in the property appraiser's records. In addition, both notices were posted at City Hall at least 10 days prior to this hearing. All evidence in this case, including photographs, have been marked as exhibits and submitted to the special magistrate clerk. I certify that all photographs be true and accurate portrayals of what I took and what I observed that day. It was ruled on February 24th, 2021, that the property owner was given 30 days to comply with the debris ordinance. The owner did not comply or come into compliance with those 30 days and has been receiving a fine of $50 a day since March 26, 2021. As of today, the property has accrued a total fine of $11,000 and, $11,850 over 237 days.
How many days?
237.
Still in non-compliance?
Still in non-compliance. The city is requesting the fines continue at $50 per day, but the city has decided to move forward with an abatement due to the property being a public nuisance, and at which time, once the city does the abatement, we will bring the property into compliance for this particular case.
Do you know whether the property is homesteaded or not?
The property is not homesteaded. It's a second property. It's Mr. O'Brien's relatives, I think son and girlfriend live in there.
Okay. Well, I'll enter an order that the property remains in violation, non-compliance through the date of the hearing, and has been in non-violation from the deadline in the original order for 237 days through today, $50 a day for a total, let me get this right, $11,850.
That's what I got, yes.
Do you have any communication with these folks?
In the earlier, there was a degree of wanting to comply, and they would, this has been going on for a lot of years.
Long time.
Yeah, and at this particular case, though, they sounded like they were going to comply, but then lack of communication, and phone calls have not been answered. None of my postings have been.
Is it occupied?
Yes, it's occupied.
Is it occupied by the owner?
No.
Okay. The city's aware, I'm assuming, that since it's not homesteaded, within 90 days, you could come back and ask for an order of foreclosure, but that's up to the city.
Yes, well, we can look at that process too, but we're going to go ahead and abate it.
Or you can just fix it with, the nuisance abatement, but since it's not homesteaded, it's certainly another way maybe to catch the folks' attention, because that's really what we're looking for.
Yeah, is that compliance part?
Okay, very good. So ordered. Next case is going to be another Massey case. This is DEL 21159, 3390 Commerce Avenue. Property owner Andre Person. This has to do with, let's see, I got a roof and flashing issue again. Officer Muse.
Okay, this is a case number DEL 21159, City of Deltona, Andre L. Person. Location address is 3390 Commerce Avenue, Deltona, Florida 32738. Parcel ID number 813034290080. City of Deltona Ordinance, Section 18-5, adopting the latest edition of the National Property Maintenance Code, Section 304.7, which states that the roof and the flashing shall be sound tight and not have defects that emit rain. Roof drainage shall be adequate to prevent dampness or deterioration in the walls or interior portions of the structure. Corrective action was to repair or replace the roof. The statutory requirements of this hearing have been met by a notice of hearing with sent certified mail 10 days prior to the hearing date and posted at the property address listed with the property appraiser's office. The notice of hearing was also posted at City Hall at least 10 days prior to the hearing. All of the evidence in this case, including photographs, have been marked as exhibits and submitted to the Code Board hearing clerk. And I certify all the photographs to be true and accurate portrayals of what I've observed on the day they were taken. This case was heard on October 27th of this year. The order was signed on October 27th, giving 2 days to October 30th to 2021 to complete or come into compliance, or a fine of $200 per day. The property is still in violation. So therefore, a total of 19 days at $200 a day for a total fine of $3,800.
How much?
$3,800.
3,800?
Yes, $3,800.
2,800. 28. 2,800.
Okay, I got $3,800.
Well, no, I'm asking.
Yeah, $3,800.
For 19 days at $200 a day, the property remains in violation.
Yes,
Any communication with the property owner?
not with anybody,
Okay.
not a person.
Okay. So ordered. Next case, Officer Muse again, DEL 21162. This is 1101 East Normandy Boulevard, Bank of New York, Mellon. This has to do with a nuisance. I think these are two cases, actually.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, the first one is, I'll go the right way here. It would be case number DEL 21162, the City of Deltona versus the Bank of New York Mellon. Location address was 1101 East Normandy Boulevard, Deltona, Florida 32725. Parcel ID number is 8130-05640330. This is a violation of the City of Deltona Ordinance 38-110-1, which states that weeds, where the greater portion of weeds on the lot exceeds 12 inches in height, are declared to be a nuisance and must be abated in their entirety. Corrective actions to mow the yard and main lawn so that the grass and the weeds do not exceed 12 inches in height. Statutory requirements of this notification of this hearing have been met by a notice of hearing was sent certified mail 10 days prior to the hearing date and posted at the property address listed with the property appraiser's office. In addition, the notice of hearing was also posted at City Hall at least 10 days prior to the hearing, to this hearing. The certified mail receipt was returned signed. All the evidence in this case, including photographs, have been marked as exhibits and submitted to the Code Board clerk. I certify any and all photographs to be true and accurate portrayals of what I observed on the day they were taken. This case was heard back in on October 27th, 2021. We're giving 7 days to November 3rd to come into compliance, or $50 per day. As of today, the property is still in violation, with the property being in violation for 14 days at $50 a day for a total of $700.
Property vacant, occupied?
One day it's occupied, another day it's empty. It's like a come and go. Sometimes you can catch somebody there and sometimes you can't.
That's not a good sign. Okay, so ordered. Next case, I believe the same property. DL 21-163-1101 East Normandy. This one has to do with, looks like fences, walls, garages, et cetera.
Yes, sir. This would be the City of Deltona versus the Bank of New York Mellon, the case number DEL 21-163. Location address 1101 East Normandy Boulevard, Deltona, Florida 32725. Parcel ID number 813-005640330. Violation of the City of Deltona Ordinance, Section 18-5, adopting the latest edition of the International Property Maintenance Code, Section 302.7, which states that all accessory structures, including detached garages, fences, and walls, shall be maintained and kept in good repair and sound structural condition. Corrective action, repair or replace a damaged fence. Statutory requirements for notification of this hearing have been met by a notice of hearing was sent certified mail 10 days prior to the hearing date and posted at the property address listed with the tax collector's office. In addition, the notice of hearing was also posted at City Hall at least 10 days prior to the hearing. The certified mail was not returned in this case. All the evidence in this case, including photographs, have been marked as exhibits and submitted to the Code Board clerk. I certify any and all photographs to be true and accurate portrayals of what I observed on the day they were taken. This case was heard on October 27th this year. Was given 7 days to November 3rd. The complaints are a fine of $50 per day. The property is still in violation. The property being in violation for those 14 days at $50 a day is a total of $700.
So ordered. Next case, DEL 21-166, property address 2751 Summerfield. This is your big night, Officer Muse.
Okay. This is case number DEL 21-166, City of Deltona versus Joshua Duncan. Location address is 2751 Summerfield Street, Deltona, Florida 32738. Parcel ID number is 8130-432-40060. Violation of City of Deltona Section 38-114, which states that storage of building materials, commercial and industrial materials, objects or waste relating to commercial or industrial uses or any equipment, materials, or objects that are not incidental to the residential use shall be prohibited. The corrective actions items must be stored properly or removed from the property. Statutory requirements for notification of this hearing have been met by a notice of hearing was sent certified mail 10 days prior to the hearing date and posted at the property address listed with the tax collector's office. The notice of hearing was also posted at City Hall at least 10 days prior to the hearing. All the evidence in this case, including the photographs, have been marked as exhibits and submitted to the Code Board hearing clerk. I certify any and all photographs to be true and accurate portrayals of what I observed on the day they were taken. This case was heard also on October 27th. It was given 7 days to correct to November 3rd to come into compliance or a fine of $50 per day. At this time, the property is still in violation after 14 days at $50 a day for a total fine of $700. And the city is also looking at abating the property.
So ordered.
Thank you, sir.
Next case, DEL 21-170-1984 Paris Avenue. Property owner Anthony Verdisco. Officer Brockhoff. Looks like we got a permit.
My name is Steve
Or
Brock.
we need a permit.
I'm employed with the City of Deltona as a code compliance officer. This will be case number DEL 21-170, City of Deltona versus Anthony Verdisco. Property's address is 1984 Paris Avenue. Parcel ID number is 8130-1508-0270. This is a violation of City of Deltona Ordinance Section 18-3, adopting the latest edition of the Florida Building Code, Section 105.1, which states that any owner, authorized agent who intends to construct, enlarge, alter, repair, move, demolish, or change the occupancy of a building or structure, or to erect, install, enlarge, alter, repair, remove, convert, replace any electrical, gas, mechanical, or plumbing system, and installation which was regulated by this code, or cause any such work to be done, shall first make application with the city official and obtain a permit. The corrective action for this was to acquire a permit for sheds for an expired permit. Statutory requirements for this notification of hearing have been met by the notice of hearing and notice of violation were sent certified mail to the property owner at the address listed in property appraiser's records. In addition, both notices are posted at least 10 days on the property and also at City Hall prior to this hearing. All evidence of this case, including photographs, have been marked as exhibits and submitted to the special magistrate clerk. I certify that all the photographs to be true and accurate portrayals of what I observed the day they were taken. This case began in April. The permit department forwarded me a case regarding expired permits for sheds. I initially made contact with the owner by a door hanger, and he replied by a phone call. I explained what the situation was, and he seemed to understand and would come into compliance by either renewing the permits or getting another one. The permit was not renewed, and on June 6th, I posted a notice of violation and received a call on the 9th, and he asked for extra time. Extra time was given. After that, I made several attempts by phone call, and nothing was returned. And it seemed like the property may have been vacated. Possibly he might be a snowbird. We've got several of those in town. But I went to the permit department basically to find out exactly what he needed to finish his permit. And what I found was he had everything in line, and the inspector went to inspect, but nobody's home, so the inspection didn't occur. Everything I found out from the permit department appeared to be valid and like it was going to pass. So I talked to my supervisor, who talked to the building officials. We agreed to forego, since I couldn't get in contact with them, forego the cost of the permits or the re-inspects. And we contacted the deputy director of the building official, and he went out with me and was nice enough. I helped him measure, and he finished the permit, and I posted the permit on the finished permit on the front door. So that brings it into compliance. However, what the city is asking, since we went through a lot of man hours, we would like a single $250 fine for this particular property, just because of the extent it was not in compliance by the date of the notice of violation, which would have been June 21st.
This is not a repeat violation, though, correct?
No, it's not a repeat violation.
It's not a repeat violation. I can't impose a fine unless he's got to come to the hearing first before I can impose the fine. I have to give him a reasonable time to comply. I can impose costs, but I can't impose a fine. Or we can set it, if he was not in compliance by the time of the deadline, we can fine him that, and then it could be a repeat violation next time. But I can't fine him because he's in compliance now.
Then we'll retract that, because we feel that this particular violation doesn't warrant any more, any more.
Mr. Roger, yeah, let's find him in non-compliance at time and in compliance now.
So set it up as a repeat violation next time?
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
sir. Yes, Your Honor.
So ordered.
And that was my last case. May I be excused?
Beg your pardon?
May I be excused? That was my last case.
What do you think, guys? Should we let him go home?
Well, I'm not going to go on.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
See you next time.
Timesheet.
Next case is DL 21177, Officer Scott. This case is involving 2856 West Huron Drive, property owners Mario and Francie Lavolti. Officer Scott. Public nuisance.
Good evening. My name is Jeff Scott. I'm employed by the City of Deltona as a code compliance officer. This case will be DEL 21177, the City of Deltona versus Mario A. and Francis M. Livolti. The property address is 2856 West Huron Drive, Deltona, Florida 32738. The parcel ID number is 81303284070. This is a violation of the City of Deltona Ordinance Section 3710, Public Nuisance, which states all blighted and distressed real properties are hereby declared to be public nuisances, the abatement of which pursuant to the police power is hereby declared to be necessary for the health, welfare, and safety of the residents of the city. The corrective action for said violation is to remove tarp from the roof. The statutory requirements for notification of this hearing has been met by the notice of hearing and notice of code violation were sent certified mail to the property owner at the address listed with the property appraiser's record. In addition, both notices were posted at City Hall at least 10 days prior to this hearing. All evidence in this case, including photographs, have been marked as exhibits and submitted to the special magistrate clerk. I certify any and all photographs to be true and accurate portrayals of what I observed the day they were taken. This case was started on July 10, 2021 by residents advising the tarp on the roof is ripping apart and blowing all over the neighborhood. The property is vacant. No one has contacted me in regards to this case. As of today, the violation remains. The city would like to request 7 days for the property to come into compliance or a fine of $50 per day to be imposed until such time that the property owner has notified the city of compliance.
So ordered. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next case is DEL 21178, property address 426 Rockford Street, property owner Lorimar Figueroa. This has to do with, looks like we got something parked where it shouldn't be parked.
This is on? Oh, okay, my bad.
I've got the photos.
Okay. Sorry. Good evening. My name is Josue Garcia Segarra. I'm employed by the City of Deltona as a code compliance officer. This case will be number DEL-21-178, the City of Deltona versus Lorimar Figueroa. The property address is 426 Rockford Street, Deltona, Florida. Parcel ID 8130700900100. This is a violation of City of Deltona Ordinance Section 66-19, subsection 3, which states boats, trailers, recreational vehicles shall not be parked or stored either within a public right-of-way or within that portion of the lot line across the full width of the lot between the front lot line and the frontmost parts of the principal structure. The statutory requirements for this notification of the hearing has been met. The notice of hearing and notice of code violations were sent certified mail to the property owner at the address listed with the property appraiser's records and were posted on the property 10 days prior before the hearing. All the hearing evidence in this case, including photographs, have been marked as exhibits and submitted to the Code Board of Clerk. I certify any and all photographs to be true and accurate portrayals of what I observed on the days that they were taken. This case was entered on October 8th, 2021, when I proactively opened the case for an improperly RV trailer parked on the front lawn of the residence. I was unable to make contact with the resident at the time, so I left the door hanger and documented the violation. On October 15th, 2021, I returned to the property and noticed the vehicle had not been moved. During my inspections, I was unable to make contact with the resident again. I posted a notice of violation on the property and took an updated photo of the violation. On October 27th, 2021, I returned for a site inspection. The notice of violation compliance date was dated for October 25th, 2021. The property remained in violation of the date of the inspection. Lastly, on November 3rd, 2021, I conducted a site visit to post the notice of hearing. The RV trailer had been moved to the left side of the house, and the violation has been resolved. The city requests the property be found in non-compliance as the date of the posting of the notice of violation. Compliance date, no fines to be imposed, and the violator be set up as a repeat offender if the violation reoccurs.
So ordered. Thank you. Last case, DL 21179. This is a property address 3218 Crestwood Forest Drive. Property owner David E. and Alice E. Sauls. Permit.
My name is Jeff Scott. I'm employed by the City of Deltona as a code compliance officer. This case will be case number DEL 21179. The City of Deltona versus David E. and Alice E. Sauls. The property address is 3218 Crestwood Forest Drive, Deltona, Florida 32738. The parcel ID is 810519001420. This is a violation of the City of Deltona Ordinance Section 18.3, adopting the latest edition of the Florida Building Code Section 105.1, which states that any owner, authorized agent who intends to construct, enlarge, alter, repair, move, demolish, or change the occupancy of a building or structure, or to erect, install, enlarge, alter, repair, remove, convert, or replace any electrical, gas, mechanical, or plumbing system, the installation of which is regulated by this code, or to cause any such work to be done, shall first make application to the building official and obtain the required permit. The corrective action for said violation is to obtain a permit or remove the wooden pergola structure. The statutory requirements for notification of this hearing have been met by the notice of hearing and notice of code violation were sent certified mail to the property owner at the address listed with the property appraiser's record. In addition, both notices were posted at City Hall at least 10 days prior to this hearing. All evidence in this case, including photographs, have been marked as exhibits and submitted to the special magistrate clerk. I certify any and all photographs to be true and accurate portrayals of what I observed on the day they were taken. This case was started from a citizen complaint on April 22nd for the structure in the rear yard without a permit. The resident has constantly been in contact with the permit department and myself to try and obtain the permit. As of the day, the violation remained. I have spoken with the property owner and he has decided to go ahead and take down the structure. He advised 3 weeks is enough time to have it completely taken down. The city would like to request 21 days for the property owner to come into compliance, or $50 per day to be imposed until such time that the property owner has notified the city of compliance.
Let me ask a question. Normally, in these cases where we're requiring them to get a permit for work that they're doing, This looks like, what's the work that they're doing that they need a permit for?
The structure already, the pergola structure in the back.
It's not the fence. I'm sorry, I
The
misunderstood.
pergola structure.
Yeah, there's a structure that's just over top of the fence. I could pick it out from the picture.
I apologize. I was focusing on the fence, and I'm trying to think. That can't be a new fence, so,
That's me too. I was like,
okay, that makes sense. Okay, now I get it. Okay. Otherwise, that was very confusing. Okay, yeah, so fair enough. So the property remains in violation, 3 weeks to comply, or $50 per day, so ordered. Thank you very much, and for that clarification as well.
Thank you.
Okay. Folks, I don't have any more cases. Do you?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you very much for everything tonight, and we'll see you in January. Till then, have a great holiday, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and or whatever that it is that you guys celebrate in this time of year.
likewise.
Thank you again.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, take care. Thanks again. Appreciate it, Dan.
Hit